honor to introduce, in my opinion, a great man and a great friend, Colonel Harris. Graduated from Central Missouri State University in 1989, and he was commissioned through the ROTC as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. I met Colonel Harris years and years ago the first time, and he was a captain, and he spent a lot of years here at Fort Polk. I think he's been three separate tours at Fort Polk, and I guess his family must really love Leesville. Colonel Harris deployed in support of Operation Joint Endeavor. He deployed to Bosnia, and following that deployment is when he came to Fort Polk for his first tour. And during that time, he spent a couple of years assigned to the Joint Vendors Training Center. He served as an observer controller, as the S3 for the operations, as the S3 operations officer for Operations Group. He served as the operations officer and battalion executive officer for the 1st of the 509th Infantry Battalion. He deployed to Iraq with the 1st of the 509th when the Op 4 battalion here deployed. Came back and returned to Fort Polk and ended up as the live fire senior observer controller. And altogether, Colonel Harris came here as a captain, spent many years, left as lieutenant colonel, and then his next couple of years he saw action in Afghanistan, where he deployed in Operation Enduring Freedom, and then upon that redeployment he was lucky enough to get selected to come back to JRTC as the Deputy Commander for Operations Group, where he currently serves. Colonel Harris's awards, I'm not going to list all of them. Most importantly, he got the Bronze Star, Meritorious Service Medal, the Army Commendation Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, and the Army Achievement Medal with 5 Oak Leaf Clusters. He is a Ranger and an infantryman, and he also has been air assault. We won't hold that against him. Okay, at this time I'd just like to say, Colonel Harris, thank you, and his wife Julie, I know you're proud of him, and both your parents, Rebecca, are very proud of you. At this time, it gives me great honor to introduce to you Colonel Randall Harris, Deputy Commander of Operations.
Well, good morning, everyone. And it is a wonderful Louisiana morning, a little bit humid in this outfit, but I hope you were comfortable, and this won't be long. First of all, thank you, Mr. Tony Petrie-Antonio, for that introduction. I told him to keep it short. I think he went a little long, but I appreciate it. I've known Mr. Petrie-Antonio for some time, and he's a true patriot. God bless him, and prayers for his son who was recently wounded in Afghanistan and is now recovering. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome as we celebrate the memory of America's fallen heroes. First, I'd like to thank the American Legion Post 387 for inviting me here today during this remembrance. Mayor Rose, Ms. Kennedy, representatives from American Legion and retired Post 387, representatives from the Veterans of Foreign Wars, representatives of the Disabled American Veterans, representatives from American Legion Post 145 and 510, family, friends, and patriotic Americans. Let me begin by asking all veterans and any Gold Star family members in the audience to please stand. How about a round of applause for these great heroes? Please be seated. Okay, you're all heroes to me, and I know you're heroes to your nation. Thank you deeply for your selfless service. So today, what we really have to ask ourselves is, what is Memorial Day? What does it mean to you? Of course, Memorial Day means something different to everyone. In modern times, this weekend typically is defined by family outings, barbecues, recreational trips, and of course retailers conducting special sales events. And I must be honest, I partake in all those events myself. However, the true purpose of this day, of this Memorial Day, is to honor the great Americans who have given the ultimate sacrifice and have fallen in defense of their nation, of which I can think of no higher calling. The concept of Memorial Day was first developed during the Civil War and was originally called Decoration Day, in which the nation could honor its fallen heroes. The first Decoration Day was held on May 30th, 1868, and in recent times has transitioned into Memorial Day. And I think those men and women long ago, imagine this remembrance holiday we now call Memorial Day, really knew what they were doing when they designated this time of year as a time to honor our fallen. It is a time of renewal and strength after a winter of loss and silence. And today, like this event here, we gather at cemeteries and memorials all over the country. We march in parades in big cities and in small, from California to Virginia, and we watch the annual Memorial Day concerts on television. We do these things to honor the loyalty and the bravery of our fallen in this noble calling, military service. While this day is typically spent recalling the valor of men and women who died in combat, we must never forget those professionals, those quiet professionals, the still living veterans, who answered that noble calling to serve the people of this United States. Their passing doesn't make headlines, but their lives and profound sense of duty and patriotism will resonate with soldiers that they've met and trained over the years, the missions that they've executed, with dedication and the families that they left behind. The countless Americans whom I've had personal witness of their extraordinary heroism during my tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. These men and women putting it all on the line for their buddies, for their country, and for their unit. The veterans in the audience here know this well, and they've undoubtedly seen this dedication during their combat experiences. It is their undying camaraderie and will to overcome an enemy in the defense of your country. It's quite awe-inspiring. But it really doesn't stop there. It's the drill sergeant who barks orders at the recruit so he can learn how to deal with stress. It's the sergeant who helped a new soldier out and mend a troubled marriage. It's the chaplain who listened and comforted a warrior who had just lost his friend. These are the nameless heroes, but to their families and to the nation who live and die each day without want of recognition, we are obligated to remember them. They die in nursing homes and hospitals everywhere, every day. The fact that they did not die in battle should not diminish our responsibility as citizens of this country to show our respect for their service. We must seize this day to seek them out, veterans of all eras, and learn their stories. Once learned, we must share them with their next generation. And as our former president, Ronald Reagan, put it so eloquently, freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. We must really think that through. I'll say it again. Freedom is never more than a generation from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children through the bloodstream. It must be fought for. It must be protected and handed on to them for them to do the same. Resolve today to never let that man in a veteran hat or t-shirt pass by you again. Stop him or her. Shake their hands. Tell them you appreciate them. And let them know you appreciate the years of service that they have given so that you can remain free. It is our responsibility as citizens to pay homage to those who die in the service of our nation, but oh, how much more is it our responsibility to pay homage before they pass. It is not a message you're used to hearing on Memorial Day, but I feel it's important to consider nonetheless. On this Memorial Day, tradition dictates that the Stars and Stripes are raised briskly against the wind to the top of the staff, which will happen at noon today. This amazing flag represents the strength of our nation, the heroes past, present, and stands as a steadfast rallying point to the future for free peoples everywhere. For our fallen, so many mothers and wives, husbands and fathers, extended families and friends have been given the same folded flag in remembrance of their loved one, and they do their duty every day to ensure that their loved one is remembered. They carry on each day with pictures on mantles and mementos of life not fully lived. They carry on the understanding that a soldier chooses this life of service, and thus they understand the potentiality of their death as a sacrifice for the sake of freedom. These men and women left behind carry on their soldier's message, raising up their memory like an unfurled flag. Today we also honor you, for you bear the burden only you can comprehend. We are grateful for the support you have given your soldier so that they can carry out their mission of protecting people like my family and yours. We are grateful you are here to carry on the story and that we might also know your soldiers' bravery. We thank you for your service and we promise to help you carry on. So I ask you again, what is Memorial Day to you? Well, I feel it's our responsibility as citizens to remember the nation's brave fallen men and women, whether they died on foreign lands in the heat of battle or after a lifetime of uniformed service in the military. And never forget the men and women who know all too well the ultimate cost of our freedom, for their service to this country is the greatest gift of all. And finally, as you round out your Memorial Day weekend with barbecues, parades, and family gatherings, resolve to continue the narrative of this holiday season with your loved one. What day is better than today to commit to doing this small task? I ask you to stop and reflect on this day and the heroes who paid the ultimate price that we can never match. Remember, today is a somber day, but also a day to rejoice. Today is both a day to weep and a day to sing a song. Today is both a day of forgotten valor and a day to remember it. And today is the day of spring's renewal in the shadow of winter's mortality. Most of all, today is the day to tell stories of the soldiers on the battlefield of decade past and today, so the soldiers of yesterday and today are never forgotten by the children of tomorrow. Let us please remember the thousands of military members in harm's way today as we speak, who guard our freedom and our way of life. I want to thank the American Legion Post again for inviting me to talk with you today, all the way airborne, and God bless America. Thank you.